Alright, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to another review. Another review. A lot of people, think about, summer and all that. They think about the heat. We got the heat. You get swimming, and all that. We get swimming, we get the heat, we get traveling. One thing I think of though when it comes to summertime is all those mummies on TV and stuff. And I think, why not do a review on a mummy-related episode? Because it's summertime and all that, and you got the sand, you got the heat and stuff, why not review something like that? I think I wanted to take a look at Scooby-Doo and all that, and check a review and all that. Alright, review an episode all the way back in the original show. We're going to be reviewing that. Yep, here we are, though. We're going to be looking at Scooby-Doo and the Mummy 2. We're actually going to be reviewing 2 different Mummy episodes. Yep. Get it? 2 different Mummy episodes. What? I thought it would be funny. But all jokes aside, though, yes, it'll be 2, but, not 2, T-O-O, but, 2 as 2 episodes. But I figure we'll start with the original show first, and then work our way, to that episode, which will be later down the road. Because I figured, why not start with the original and see, how the newer episode improved and how it didn't. But yeah, so, anywho, jokes aside, so this first episode we have here is, Scooby-Doo and the Mummy 2, as I've stated. This episode is about, apparently, the gang going on a, exhibit. They're going on an exhibit, or a museum. Which is very odd, because they did this in the first episode. They went on, like, they went to a museum and all that. This was because, in the first episode of the show, they found, some sort of knight and shiny armor and a pickup truck they were investigating. Here, they're just going into, this museum and all that. And this actually implies that they're in school. Now, I want to clarify something that's very bizarre about Scooby-Doo. So some incarnations of Scooby-Doo, the characters are in school. Some of them, they are not. Like, some episodes are, even movies, for that matter, they're not even in school at all. So it's kind of hit or miss depending on, what you're watching. Personally, I don't really see why, honestly, in a lot of cases, why they made them high schoolers, like, why not in their early 20s? I feel like it would make more sense because of all the traveling they do, and all that. There's some cases like Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated and all that, which I understand why they're, like that. And then there's, like, shows like A Pup Named Scooby-Doo. Which I actually have not reviewed any episodes of that show. I need to do that down the road, too. But, for the most part, though, like, there's not really a reason why they are, like, in high school. There's not really a reason. They don't really talk about it a lot. They don't really reference it a lot. They're usually just traveling to random stuff. They must be very, very bored or something, Gotta travel all the time. I mean, I guess you don't have to be bored to travel, but it feels like that's all they do. It's like, can't they take a rest? Like, I mean, how many miles is Fred's van on, Like, how many miles does he have on that van? I mean, there's gotta be a lot of miles on that van. I'm just saying, like, I don't know, but in this episode though, they're actually going to school, and apparently they're actually in they're talking about a mummy and all that, and then this archaeologist guy comes in here and all that. Doctor, I think his name's Najin, I think is how you pronounce his name, Najin. Apparently, is talking about how the mummy is cursed and all that, or like he has a curse, and they're hoping he didn't bring it with them, or he didn't bring it with him, which is pretty interesting, though. Not suspicious at all. Yeah, not suspicious at all. Just just a random curse. But there's like only like 2 suspects in this entire episode. I mean, you also got the guy at the sandwich shop, which apparently Shaggy was gonna give him a coin, but then took it back, and it's like he took it back, and the guy didn't get his quarter, so I mean he could be a suspect too. He'd be pissed at the gang for not paying him. I don't know. I do like how he has the same voice as Shaggy. He just uses his normal voice. That's pretty funny. It's actually Shaggy at first, because I think they were still trying to figure out kind of what they were gonna do with the gang. At the first episode, I believe Shaggy kind of uses his normal voice for the most part. I don't know. He kind of made it sound more hippie and all that down the road, but Casey and all, the Casey guy who voiced Shaggy originally, sorry I don't remember his last name, but he kind of, gave him more of an accent down the road, which, give him more character, which I kind of like that, give him more, and all that, but I think before that, he kind of just sounded like, using his actual voice, so at least they gave him kind of an accent, or, more of a different voice, but you can definitely tell it's the same voice actor with that. But apparently, while the gang is gone, though, the mummy breaks in and all that, and turns the professor into a he turns him into a statue, and he turns him into a statue and all that. Another thing is, too, the professor, is voiced by, he's voiced by, the same actor who played the, other guy from the Nights for a Night, episode, who was, one of the suspects there and all that, so it's kind of interesting. They kind of brought the voice actor back there, I don't know. Do any of there's like Fred or the voice actor of Scooby or Shaggy voice him, or is it somebody different? I'm not sure. I'm not really sure, the voice acting, but yeah, it is kind of interesting to have him come back. It's also weird, again, how this show, or Scooby-Doo in general, is so obsessed with professors, they got 1,000 professors, doctors and professors. Does Scooby-Doo have a cult somewhere or something with all these professors? Do they have a little cult somewhere or something? Do they work on experiments and stuff? Why is there so many professors and all that? I mean, it's kind of common in superhero shows, because they have to have somewhere, they have to work something in where they gotta, I think, bring superpowers and stuff. I don't know. I mean, I guess I haven't seen a ton of superhero shows, but I've seen some that they build inventions and stuff like that. But I've seen enough where I can see that. But in Scooby-Doo, it's kind of weird. But I don't know. But anyway, the mummy turns him into a little statue and all that. We actually get a montage of him seeing that, so it's so the mummy turns him into a stone statue, and then I guess he decided to turn the book into a book into a stone too. But yeah, he decided to turn the book into a stone too, because apparently the professor's sitting there reading it while he's in stone. I think he was actually doing that before he got turned into stone. So I mean, I guess the mummy must hate reading too. Yeah, he must really hate He must hate the professor and reading, because he turned the book into like a reading thing. Like, he turned the book into a statue for some reason. I don't know. It's very weird. Like, it's very weird how they have all this set up in that. I'm sorry. I know it's hard to take it kind of seriously. Like, literally, like, why do they like make it where the mummy turns him into a statue in his book too? I mean, they could have probably cut that out. Honestly, I guess they were trying to make it a little creepy, but I don't know. I just like why do the animators animate him holding a book and all that? Like, the audience knows he wasn't holding a book, so we know it just makes it look kind of weird. It makes it look like, he didn't turn him into a statue, I don't know. It's kind of weird, but it's kind of weird to just do it like that. But I don't know. But then apparently because he's looking for this coin. He can't find the coin, and he discovers the gang has it. So he goes after the gang and all that. And I like how throughout this entire episode, I like how the mummy gets pissed off more and more at the gang. Like, I'm not joking. I mean, they all kind of get pissed at, a lot of monsters get pissed at the game because they're always meddling, and getting in their business. But, like, the mummy literally hates their guts. He hates their guts so much he freaking throws a damn saw down, in the pool and tries to cut them. Or not cut them. Well, he tries to, not cut them. He tries to, cut them. He tries to cut them in half with a fucking saw. Like, clearly he is, like, just had it with their shit and all that, and, it's very, very weird to see that, but it's also kind of funny. There's also, like, other, funny jokes, too, like, Scooby, karate chopping the mummy and all that, and hurting himself, like, geez, does the mummy have, some rock hard abs or something, Like, how is he, able to, how does Scooby able to get hurt by him? I don't know, it's kind of weird, but yeah, I don't know, it's just kind of, like I said, it's interesting to see and all that, but yeah, I don't know, it's just kind of like, we got a bunch of, jokes here and there, and they're pretty funny, and, but another thing is, too, about this episode, too, is that we get, one moment where Scooby gets captured. Yeah, Scooby gets captured and all that, or, supposedly just gets turned into stone, only for him to appear right next to the statue. So it's he's literally just leaving, this mummy's just leaving clues for them to solve, at this point. It's why the hell did he make a statue of something he didn't catch, I mean, the book is one thing, because the professor, was probably reading a book. I mean, he was, but again, we saw it, I don't know why they didn't need a montage of us seeing him discovering the mummy, I think he could have just sat there and read, but I don't know, or they could have just kept the book out, because again, it looks kind of weird when you're trying to convince us this mummy is turning people into stone. I mean, I guess to be fair, though, I mean, a lot of people watching Scooby-Doo are not going to know that, but this is also the first season 2 of this show. It is the 12th episode, but, just kind of weird, but then you gotta have him, you gotta have him, put a statue, right next to, or, have Scooby-Doo have a statue of himself, again, why did he do that? Why did the mummy turn him and just, build a statue and all? Because you kind of gave it away that you can't really turn people into stone. And again, they're trying to throw clues at there, too, but we're kind of treating the audience here like we're stupid, doing that, because I'm just like I said, it's just like, it doesn't make any sense at all. Like he could have had clues in there without needing to do that. Like, that's a bit much. It's like the freaking ape episode all over again, where this ape is eating a sandwich on the floor and then just leaves a sandwich there, Only that makes a little bit more sense in that episode, which I reviewed, by the way. I reviewed that one in A Night for a Night. It's in my Hanna-Barbera reviews if you guys want to check that out. I think it's Hanna-Barbera. Is it Hanna-Barbera or Boomerang? I don't remember. But basically, yeah, in that episode it was a bit different because, he eats meat and maybe he forgot the sandwich. Here, like this mummy is literally building a statue. He's building a statue and all of Scooby and, doesn't even capture him. So, I don't know, but there are, like I said, there are a lot of funny moments in this episode that I like. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just give it a score. I think this episode is a good. It's a good and all that, and then it's gonna be getting 93 points. Yeah, 93 points. I don't think this episode is bad, but I will say one thing, like I've talked about before, that really drags down an episode for me of Scooby-Doo is the monsters themselves. Now I think the culprit, honestly, I think the reasoning behind him doing something, which is Dr. Najim, by the way, which I think was pretty obvious, especially when we find the professor, like, all tied up. I mean, they do kind of give us a couple suspects to choose from, but again, like, my biggest problem with it is just, his design alone. Like Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Really does have some pretty lousy monster designs. This is something they would definitely improve later on down the road, but I mean, I don't think they need to go super hard out on a mummy, because a mummy, well, it's covered in toilet paper, tape, or whatever the heck it's covered in, But that's the thing, though. It's covered in, all that, but the thing is, though, like, they could have added, like, a little bit more details to it and all that. They could have. Like, I think they could have added, like, maybe some gold shoulder blades, or maybe he could be wearing, like, a little or like a necklace or something, They could have done something a little bit different with his design, but besides his design and that stupid moment where him building a statue of Scooby-Doo, I don't think it's that bad. I think this is actually a pretty good episode. But again, that's kind of what drags it down a little bit, is the monster design. But that's about really it. I mean, I do think, some people are probably going to think, well, it's kind of a bit harsh to give it a score. But I'm going off, with Scooby-Doo, I think of plots, humor. There could be humor. There's, there's the atmosphere, and then there's the atmosphere, and then there is the monster. Now, the atmosphere is not, the best, but I don't think it's that bad. I actually kind of like the atmosphere. It takes place in, like, a museum, again, like the before. Actually, or is it the school? I think it might be the school. Yeah, because they go to, like, a gym and stuff. But it's still nice to see. It's still nice to see that and all, it's not bad. Like, I think they do a pretty good job with that. But that's pretty much all there is to this episode that I can think of. There's not much else to say about it. I think it's definitely pretty good. It definitely has that old school Scooby-Doo humor with it. I think he does a pretty good job there. Like I said, I think the biggest problem was the designs, but that doesn't really surprise me, because the designs are kind of something there. But I don't know. But anywho, though, that's pretty much all I have to say with this episode. So I'll see you guys later. Anywho, tell me what you guys think about this episode, and I'll see you guys next time. Dash All Rose, out.